Hey guys, I'm gonna walk you through what we do at night for our snakes. It's pretty simple. I have this step ladder so that I can reach the top tank. My husband doesn't need it. I need it though. Let's see. Basically, the temperatures and everything are pretty set in here. You just really are gonna change these lamps out. You're gonna turn the day lamp off and you're gonna turn this CHE bulb on. This is just a bulb that emits heat. It emits no light. So they can get the same amount of heat as they get here, but it doesn't have light. So it helps them have a natural day and night cycle. And we have, which I've discussed before, these towels that we have to put up here on one side of the top of the screen because, like I've said other videos talking about enclosures, when you have screen tops like this, it's so hard, especially when you're also using heat lamps, to keep the humidity in. We've got a humidity gauge back there. See how it's already gone down to like 49? That means we need to go ahead and spray again because boa constrictors and reticulated pythons, which are what we have down here, along with, we've got one king snake. He doesn't need as high humidity. He just needs 50% humidity, like between 40 and 50%. But boa constrictors and reticulated pythons need a little bit higher of a humidity. We try to keep it around like 60, between 50 and 60. When they're shedding, we like to keep it higher than that. But I've sprayed the inside of the tank, and I'm also having to spray the top of this towel so that this towel can hold some humidity and also act as a covering for half of the tank. Then all you do after that is you shut off the heat lamp for daytime, and then you turn on the CHE at night. So do this for all the tanks. There are 7 tanks down here. So this is like a routine thing that me and my husband have to do morning and night. And he will also usually in the middle of the day spray the tanks again, because the tanks over there by the door have a bad tendency to hold humidity even less well because they are by this window behind the TV and by the door over there. So there's more light that comes in over there versus over here. Everybody over here is fine and doesn't have any issues with shedding, but everybody over there, with the exception of Rob because he's right there, has issues shedding. So we often have to soak all of them when they've tried to shed on their own because the humidity just doesn't hold well over there on that side. So that's something to consider if you're thinking about tank placement next to a lot of windows and stuff where light's going to be coming in, along with having the screen tops and the heat lamp. You're going to have some issues there holding in the humidity. So I would probably put your tank somewhere where there's not a lot of windows so that you can just eliminate that part altogether. And take a look at Onyx's tank. Now, Onyx is a Mexican black king snake. He's from the Mexican desert. So his substrate is a little bit different. Aspen is a little bit dry compared to some of the other stuff we use, like cocoa husk and cypress mulch, which holds humidity better than this. His humidity gauge right now says 48%. It's already close to where it needs to be because we try to keep it at 50 for him. And these humidity gauges, I get them on Amazon. They're really, really cheap and they work really good. I Velcro them inside the tank, so if it does come off, it's Velcro, so it's not going to stick to the snake's body like glue would when it comes to some of the ones you might find at PetSmart or Petco. So I highly recommend getting one of these and then going out and buying you some Velcro to actually attach it inside of the tank. But you can also see it's got the temperature up there, 73.4 on the cool side. You just don't want it to get too low. You want it to be, you know, ideally you want it to be 75, between 75 and 80. Sometimes like in the winter time, it's getting cold out here, it's going to get a little bit lower, so you might have to actually adjust the temperature of your house to offset that. But we're okay right now because, see, he knows how to thermoregulate because it's a natural instinct for him. So that's why he's over here and he's on his hot side. So underneath the tank is where his heat pad actually is. This log over here says warm hide, and then obviously we've got this heat lamp. So he's got heat coming from the bottom and he's got heat coming from the top. So that compensates for this over here. If he gets too hot, he can always come over here on this side. This is also where we like to keep water, which his water does need to be refilled. So that's how this kind of works. And then in the middle, you've got this in-between area that he can also get to. So they can choose where they want to go. And as long as you provide them with that correct temperature range, they're going to be fine. They know when they need to go get warm. They know when they need to go get cooler. I don't know if you'll be able to see him. I'm going to try to show you. But Caw here, he is about to go into shed. You can see how his eyes are clouded over. So he is going to need a higher humidity because he needs that higher humidity to help him shed. So when we spray his tank, we're going to make sure that he has a little bit higher humidity than a lot of the other snakes. So that's going to help him out when he actually needs to shed. Pretty much now everybody's all set. We do this around 8 or 9 o'clock for them. They have just like this routine, like when I get up in the morning, I'll go ahead and do everything in the morning because I have an opposite schedule than Ramsey. And he'll be the one to kind of do things during the middle of the day before he goes to work because he leaves here to go to work at 2. And then I'm here at night in the evenings when, you know, it's 8 or 9 o'clock. So I'll go ahead and I'll do everything since I'm here. And then when he gets home really late at night from his job, because of his different schedule, he'll double check and he'll make sure everybody's still got a good humidity and everything like that. So it's kind of like if you have multiple snakes like we do, we have 16, it's a good idea to sort of like tag team things, especially like if you've got opposite shifts like we do. But if you have like the same shift, you can still, you know, alternate. Like we have some snakes down here, we have some upstairs, all the ball pythons and our little boa constrictor with the kink that we talked about, he's up there. So sometimes one of us will deal with all the snakes down here when we're off together, when we're off work together, and then the other person will go upstairs and take care of the ball pythons and everything like that. So there's different ways you can do it depending on the number of snakes you have. Another thing I wanted to show you is one of these. You can get this at Walmart for about $13 to $14. It's an infrared thermometer, or you can call it a temp gun. In the early days of us setting all this up and adjusting everything down here, checking the hot, the cool in, and the ambient temp in the middle, we used this a lot because we wanted to make sure everything was stable so that, you know, our thermostats were set to what they needed to be for the heat pad and the heat lamps were doing okay and all that. So these are really beneficial. We have one upstairs and one downstairs so that we don't have to go back and forth and get the same one. So I'm going to show you really quick how you can use one of these. Let's see. Okay. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to put this down here. I'm going to show you the temperature in the warm hide. So over here where Harley is in her cool hide, it's 73.7, not terrible. But like I said, it's doing that. There's a temperature shift because I just sprayed in here. And it's winter time now, so things are a little bit cooler in the house. And then obviously ambient temp is 78. So that's how you can use a temp gun to double check things, and you can adjust them as needed. Different snakes are going to need different temperatures or temperature gradients. Boa constrictors and reticulated pythons, they're more of like a tropical. They need a higher humidity. Boa constrictors and reticulated pythons need a higher humidity than some other snakes. So yeah, I just kind of want to account for that and make sure that everything is where it needs to be.